Well, okay. Welcome to Unit 1 of English 153. You'll see these vodcasts. This is called a vodcast at the beginning of every unit. As soon as the next unit starts, I'll throw a vodcast up here. And it's part of your class participation grade. It's also called attendance in the syllabus. You need to give me a summary of what you learned from this vodcast. It doesn't have to have a ton of detail, but you just need to show me that you got something out of spending this amount of time with me this morning. And these summaries are posted where it says down at the bottom of the Moodle. This page you're looking at, by the way, is called a Moodle. All right. Down at the very bottom of the Moodle, you'll see where all the discussion forums are. And so I just want you to post a summary right there in that discussion forum called like CP Unit 1, Class Participation Unit 1. You don't have to respond to each other for the class participation grade. So Unit 1 is basically about the family. And what I like to think, and the way a lot of those of us who teach literature and who write literature, I don't write literature. I'm a writer, but I don't write literature. I write nonfiction. Literature teaches us something about ourselves. Okay, this isn't just made up. This literature comes from real life. There's very little. There's some literature that's fantasy, but even that you can kind of relate to real life, science fiction, that kind of thing you can relate. Even J.R.R. Tolkien, Lord of the Rings, that's a huge metaphor for the onslaught of Nazism in World War II, that kind of stuff. So literature really tells you something about yourself. It tells you something about history. It tells you something about the future. It's not just fun and games, all right? And good literature really speaks to you personally if you know how to critically read, all right? So some of your first readings for this unit are about critical reading. Now, if you don't have your textbook yet, that doesn't keep you from starting, because your first discussion, okay, the first discussion forum is about your own previous experiences with literature, your own previous experiences with reading, that kind of thing. You can do discussion 1. It's an icebreaker, tell you a little bit about yourself. You can post some pictures, that kind of thing. And you can also do discussion board 1-2, in which I ask you to think about what critical reading is, what's your own view of literature, what you learned from reading the first couple items in the textbook. If you can't do that, at least you can start the discussion, okay? You have to have the textbook. You must have it by next week. It's a very, very good textbook. It's Literature and Ourselves, 6th edition. You have to have this edition, okay? It's by a group of people named Henderson et al., and the bookstore does have this, okay? It has been ordered. You must have it. That said, you're going to be reading something from Bill Cosby. Nearly every reading I have you do is also linked to some YouTube videos, some other activities. So it's not just reading that you're doing a lot of activities for each reading. I give you a lot of background on every single reading, okay? As you notice, the course is just driven by the discussion boards. You do the reading, then you do the discussion. Every reading is linked to discussion, so you've got to get the two to come together. And every reading has activities. You're going to get the most out of the class if you do the activities. And by the way, I can tell, Moodle tracks you, okay, I can tell how much time you're spending, that kind of thing. So I really want you to spend a lot of time in your Moodle, in your learning modules, that kind of stuff. Bill Cosby, I'm sure you're going to like him, of course. You get to enjoy a video, all right, about him talking about his family, then you do a short reading. Theodore Roethke is somebody you're going to like. You're going to be able to hear him actually read his own work, or hear a dramatic reading of his work, rather. It's about his father, obviously. Louis Salinas is also a poet about writing about his father. Joyce Carol Oates is a wonderful novelist, writes a lot about family matters, dysfunctional families, that kind of thing. And then Sherman Alexie, you're going to love that. He's a Native American, and he writes about Jimi Hendrix, right, how his dad loved Jimi Hendrix, and I show you Jimi Hendrix video. So I think you're going to find a lot of interactivity in this class. You're going to find a lot of audio-visual. You're going to find a lot of oral stimulation. It's not just straight reading, although I think straight reading is excellent. Hopefully by the end of the class, you're going to really learn to enjoy reading. Now, one of the things I want to talk to you about very briefly is when you get your textbook, there's going to be a section on critical reading. And critical reading is not about finding hidden meaning. Okay, too many of you have gone through a high school program where you talk about symbolism and hidden meaning, that kind of stuff. This is not what literature is about when you get to the college level. Okay, literature is about you. It's about your life. So the point is to try to just relate it to yourself. Say, oh, okay, yeah, my father was like that, or my mother was like that, or yeah, I know somebody like that. Okay, and the whole point here is, and to really do the critical reading, you kind of have to understand the context of the time in which the author was writing. You have to know a little bit about the author. That's important. It's not memory. It's just kind of knowing when he or she was writing, and then kind of know some of the historical context that's going on. And I know many of you say, I hate history. Well, that's too bad, because history is what made you who you are today, and history is what tells you who you might be tomorrow, all right? If you understand the context in which you live, you are a better citizen, a better significant other, a better mother, a better father, and you're a more self-actualized person. You're actually happier because you're in control. Instead of other forces being in control of you, all right, suddenly you become in control if you understand the history that got you to where you are and which is pushing you forward. In the same way with politics. Don't say, I hate politics. Don't do that, okay? You need to understand what's going on around you in order to have control over your own life, which is one of the reasons that you're going to college, okay? You're going to get this degree, you know, for the certification, hopefully that you get a better job, and you're saying to yourself, why am I studying literature? Well, there's a reason for that, okay? And it's not just because I'm an English teacher, and, you know, I'm happy to have you pay me to teach you this, okay? But rather that studying literature makes you a more complete person. Now, maybe you're not going to go on and be a lifelong reader, whatever, all right? But you are going to learn how to be more of a critical reader, and there's tons of stuff you read around you all day long, right? You know, billboards, advertisements, instruction manuals, everything. Okay, you do a lot of reading in your life, whether you like it or not. All right. So this course is kind of supposed to help you on multiple levels. All right, and the goal is to just simply help you become a more fully actualized person. This course is not about memorization. It's about enjoyment. I want you to enjoy the literature. I want you to look for yourself in it. I want you to have a good time with it. I want you to have a good time with the course. Okay, I've really put a lot of thought, a lot of material in there. You're going to find it a very, very full, kind of a comprehensive course. If you have questions, please get a hold of me throughout the unit. The unit's short, 2 units. I think you have a total, I can look here, of 7 discussions. It's absolutely critical you get these discussions done. Yes, you have 7 discussions. Each one's linked. Discussion 3 is about Bill Cosby. Discussion 4 is about Rutke. Discussion 5 is about Salinas. Discussion 6 is about Oates. Discussion 7 about Alexei. You need to have some real content in these discussions, and you need to respond to as many peers as there are in the class. This is a very small class, okay, and for that I apologize. These are going to get bigger as this new online program for Trine grows. They're pushing it nationally, and there will be some natural growth to it. So, you know, if there's 2 or 3 students in this class, I expect you to respond to at least 1 or 2 other students, okay? And I'll be in there checking, plus I'll be making comments too. I'll be looking forward to doing this. So please, if you have any questions, get a hold of me. I need to keep this video kind of short. Do make sure you go down to the bottom of the Moodle and post a short summary, please.